Well, look who's arriving in the background. I can see him. Oh no, he's run away again. Hi, you're very welcome. It's Roshan here. And I am going to share with you my latest little filled in sketchbook, my July to August sketchbook. I've just come back from the Urban Sketching Symposium in Poznan in Poland. And I've been back for, well, I don't know, a week and 2 days now. But I caught COVID when I was over in Poland and I was so unwell. And the last thing you wanted to hear was my snuffly, horrible, smothered, drowned voice. But anyway, I'm back now. And I just wanted to share with you one small gripe that's to do with YouTube itself. So a while ago, I started getting messages from YouTube saying, "Oh, you're growing rapidly," and I'm like, "Oh wow, I'm growing rapidly," and that was great. And I thought, "Wow," and and inviting me to programs to, I don't know, accelerate further and all that kind of thing. And I don't know, good, bad, and different, whatever. Didn't pay much attention really. I attended one of those shows that they put on, and it was like, don't know if this is for me. They're kind of trying to get you to have members on your channel, and I think that's a really nice idea for those who do nothing but YouTube. I think it's a brilliant idea to have a membership, but I already have a membership for my sketch club, so anybody who wants a little bit a bit more individual attention and I suppose interaction with me, you can join my sketch club. Yes, you can. And it's great fun. And you get a month's free trial. But that's not what I was going to tell you about here. I was going to tell you that YouTube keeps sending me messages through the WhatsApp telling me what's trending. And it's really dumb because there's like, I can't even remember the little list of top 3 trending items. All I know is they're really silly. And I answered YouTube and I said, I'm a serious channel. I don't, thinking about all the stupid things I do with the dog on my channel. But anyway, I'm a serious channel. I'm not interested in what's trending and what's not. But then I just get a thank you for contacting whatever. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the video in question. Today I'm going to share with you all the little goings on that I have had from a sketching point of view for the months of July and August. And I hope that you enjoy it. So let's go. Actually, there is one thing I want to add about Poznan before I go any further. And I want to say that those of you who have watched my channel for a while and who came up to say hello and to greet me when we were in Poland, you know, it was so lovely. It was so lovely to meet you. It was very, very touching. And to see you physically in the flesh when you've been kind enough to comment and say nice things about what I do here, it was just, it's really lovely. You guys know I never sell anything. I never have any work in galleries. I don't do anything like that. All I have to interact with you and what I do as an artist in my own way is what you tell me. That's all I have. I can't read your mind. So I just love it when you do reach out and you make contact. And I'll be in Switzerland from tomorrow until Sunday. So if you are one of those folk who are going to be in Geneva at the Swiss Urban Sketching Symposium, please come up and say hello. I haven't got COVID anymore. I'm not going to catch it off you because I'm fully immune. So do just come up, say hello. I'd love to meet you. I'm outdoors at my slightly weather-beaten patio table, so I hope you don't mind. This first one is a little sketch I did of one of the mugs I bought in Poznan. And the pastry did not come all the way from Poland. It came from a Polish shop near me. And the mug was kind of difficult to do, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. This one is a little mock-up for a canvas I'm doing in oils for a friend of mine. Sometimes you can choose just 2 colours and do quite a lot with it. And in this sketch here, I've used ultramarine and burnt sienna. There's a little bit of green in the water, but I kind of regretted that. So I suggest you give it a try. You'll see another one a little bit further on, but it was very effective. Now, this recipe is a little salad that my daughter Olivia threw together one morning. And I called it Salad Olivia because it's a play on a Persian salad called Salad Olivier. And this salad is just so good. And I'm really glad I wrote it down. And I'll tell you what's in it. You fry some halloumi slices, cut thick. And you put some rocket into oil and balsamic vinegar. Put it into a little salad bowl. And you add the fried halloumi and some cubed tomato, half a shallot, finely chopped. Some strawberries, halved or sliced, I can't remember. Some ribboned courgettes, some cubed avocado, some walnuts. And then you toss it all together fried courgette ribbon. Oh, the courgette ribbons are fried slightly. So fried courgette ribbons, rocket halloumi, tomato, avocado, sliced strawberry and walnut. And then I've got not caster sugar written, which I don't know what is going on there. But it is absolutely delicious and I highly recommend it. You'll be glad you did. Now, this little fellow is a crab that I collected on the beach, and it's another one of those subjects that I painted just in ultramarine and burnt sienna. That's all I used. And look at the range of colours that you can get just from those colours. Pretty amazing. Here are 3 members of my family lounging around after dinner, I suppose. And I just love the colour palette, the soft blue greys and navy, and then the red of Olivia's fleece and the red of Paddy's cap. And then the skin and the hair is almost the same kind of colour. So I like that very much. And this one I'm mortified about. It's just not a good painting. But that's because I was distracted. Reuben kept biting the plums and running away. This is a series of paintings of wildflowers that I did. And this year was just insanely amazing for wildflowers down in the shore near where I live. And I ended up using Posca pens to capture those beautiful strong pinks and purples and the yellows. And that one was pinks and purples and yellows. And then this one was just yellow and white. I suppose I just wanted to see what happened when I did this palette. But just look at the way you've got this beautiful tufty long grass right next to the seaweed covered shore. And then you've got Island Eddy just out in the bay. And you can walk out there when the tide is low enough a couple of times a year. But it was just magnificent. And I can't describe to you the bliss that it was just to sit there in the warm afternoon sunshine in the late summer. This is another one from up the road past where I live. It's past a very famous restaurant called Moran's on the Weir, Moran's Oyster Cottage. And there's a little green path just beyond the restaurant. And I sat there with my friend Maurice, who also happens to be one of my students. And we had such a good time just sitting there chatting. But I went back the next day and I did more of those beautiful purple flowers. And you can use Posca pen. By the way, do you see the little fly in the bottom right corner? That poor fly got coloured in purple and then I had to put white gel pen on top because I kind of forgot what I was doing. I did use white gouache and then put a little bit of sort of tinted watercolour on top, and that worked as well. So if you don't have Posca pens, you can still get an amazing effect. This one is kind of nice. It was done on the train on the left hand side, and there was this gorgeous girl sitting in one of the seats across from me, and she knew she was gorgeous. She was well aware of her beauty and she was making faces into the phone, you know, the way they kind of pout and stuff. And then a family came along and sat with her in the 3 seats near her, and that, you know, softened her cough a little bit. And then after a while she got off and the man of the family took her place, and then he fell asleep. And so I sort of did him sort of keeled over like that. And on the right hand side we've got my dear husband Marcel, and he's making coffee with all those coffee noises, hiss, fizz, and so on. And I bought him the coffee machine for his birthday a couple of years ago. And unfortunately, as I say to him, I'm very sorry. I also gave you a never-ending task because he makes coffee for everybody at coffee break, whoever's here, every single day. It takes ages and it's very loud. No one can talk when the coffee machine is doing its thing. But we like it. We enjoy it, you know. And he's very good. He says he doesn't mind at all. Very nice of him. Delicious coffee. Well, this one's one that I debated about including in the little flick through. But then I thought, well, we all know what it's like to have a sick loved one. And this is my dear father, and he's in his hospital bed. And then on the right, he has his chair. Up the road from Moran's, a little bit opposite those purple flowers that I mentioned, there's this gorgeous vista looking towards the bay. And it looked so nice one evening as the sun was going down, which you didn't capture at all. But you can see that little boat on the left, and that is owned by a fellow who fishes in the estuary. And I'm not sure how illegal it is. For all I know, it might be 100% legal. But you just don't know about these things. And there's lots of lovely flowers in the foreground. Now, here is my long-suffering husband once again. And he really should, I don't know, sit up a bit straighter. But who am I to say? I'm always bent over a sketchbook when we're supposed to be enjoying watching TV or something. But it's not the best drawing, but I like it anyway. Now, this one, you can see the making of this one as a little reel on my Instagram. So if you're interested in drawing blackberries in a very, very easy and accessible way, well, you better go and have a look at that. But this is something that I really enjoyed doing in an easy way, as I said, very easy way. Here's one of my mama in her home, in her kitchen, tried to capture the look of the sun in a shaft across the oven, but failed. And in the sketch, she's on the phone to help organise my father's care. So that's why it's kind of significant to me, and it's something I'm very, very happy to have. Love the flowers that my sister put in a little bottle on the windowsill. Lovely kitchen my mum has, really gorgeous. Now this one, this is a rescue sketch, just like you might have a rescue dog. This is a rescue sketch. I had begun to sketch out the sea one afternoon, but although it was sunny, the air seemed to be very wet and I couldn't get the layers of watercolour to dry. So I made a complete mess of it. And anyway, people wouldn't keep still. They kept walking in and out of the sea in a very annoying way. So the next day when I was on the train to go and visit my father in hospital, I drew the train right on top of the sketch. And I think it looks kind of cool. The next one is another, I suppose, sensitive one, but I think it's a nice story, so I'm happy to share it. My father used to run a factory back in the 80s, and he was back there in his mind when I was visiting him in hospital, and he was a little bit bothered about keeping up with the current ranges. So I said, you know what, why don't we just design some sweaters here and now? And I had my SketchPocket with me, so I of course had all my drawing and painting stuff with me, as I always do, and he was completely engrossed and I don't know, seemed to enjoy the designs I was coming up with. So it was kind of nice, and it's something I'll definitely do again. Here we are on Bray Seafront on the east coast of Ireland. It's a gorgeous little Victorian seaside resort, if you like. It's a big town now, but it was very popular with holiday makers from Britain and all over Ireland back in the day. I've tried many times to sketch those Victorian kiosks with very little success, but whatever way I approached them this time, I managed to get the effect I wanted. So what did I do differently? Well, I played with the composition a little bit. They're much further apart than I showed them. And I played with the colours. So I kind of simplified the colours of all the wares hanging outside. And I don't know, it just worked this time. All right, this one's a bit different from what I normally do. None of this is from life except for the coffee cup and the view out the window of the plane. This is the flight I took to Poznan in Poland last week. And I just wanted to make a little story. My plan was to make a sort of a illustrated diary, but I ran out of time so fast. I mean, there wasn't time to look up. Never mind fiddle around with silly little diaries and so on. But I did enjoy this very much. And you can see the man on the left is the traffic control guy stroke litter warden, because he was very keen to pick up any little bits of stuff that he found on the ground. It's the first time I've painted what I see through the window in such a sort of a thoughtful way, and it's something I'll definitely do again. On the first day of the Urban Sketching Symposium, the volunteers and the organisation had arranged for us to have a tour of historical Poznan. And the guide was looking at us for so long, giving us his recital, that I had plenty of time to sketch him. So that's him there. And in the bottom left, you can see a watercolour brush only rendition of a statue. Like we had about 30 seconds to draw Jesus and whoever he's talking to in that picture. But it was just a kind of a way to show, do you know what? Watercolour in a very dilute line is super, super useful if you need to be drawing super, super fast. On the right, we have part of the lunch that we were served that afternoon, and it was amazing. We were served asparagus soup, cod with beetroot dyed bulgur or something. It was bright pink anyway, and a lovely fruit salad. And the beer was great. Can't complain about the beer. It was really good. So it was a lovely, lovely lunch, and I hadn't started getting ill yet. So that's one of my favourite parts of the whole symposium. Actually, this is particularly special to me. Let me tell you about these gals. These four ladies were on the stage during the opening ceremony, and they called them Bambers. Now, Bambers were originally from Germany, from Bamberg in Germany, and in Poznan in Poland in the early 18th century, there had been a huge war followed by a massive famine. So the population went down from 12,000 to 3,000. So the Polish government of the time reached out to the farmers of Bamberg and they said, would you like to come and settle over here? You just have to be Catholic and a farmer and you're very welcome. So they came over and they settled, and they wear these beautiful costumes. I personally think that the huge amount of skirts they wear, it means that you can eat loads of lovely schnitzel all your life and get loads of, fat. But then just be fat and say, well, actually, it's just my skirts. It's just my skirts. I'm not actually fat. So I think it's a genius move. But I loved watching the girls do their thing on the stage and dress that girl, the one in a little floral dress. She was dressed by the others on the stage. It was amazing to see it, and that beautiful headpiece. Between my workshops, which took place in a really gorgeous cafe called the Petit Paris in the Starry Brouwer, I don't know how to pronounce it, shopping centre. It was such a lovely cafe, gorgeous croissants, so pretty, and beautiful salads. Now, I wasn't crazy about the lavender matcha. I don't know if I would like matcha, hot or cold, but I wasn't crazy about that. But anyway, this was sketched over lunch between my workshops, where I showed the instructors my little technique for drawing people in a busy place so that you don't get frustrated when they move out of your way and you're in the middle of drawing them. You draw the foreground, you sketch it fully, and then you put the background in and kind of line. And then you add the people in a bright coloured ink as they come and go. And it works really, really well. Now, we didn't get much time to sketch at all during the symposium, myself and the other instructors, because we really were very, very busy. But we did go out at night time to the old, beautiful market square, and I did this small little, very unprepossessing sketch by the moonlight or whatever it was. And I don't know why I used pink ink. I think it's because it was probably the only ink pen of mine that was flowing at the time. Now, this one is kind of significant to me. This was a sketch I made on the closing ceremony, during the closing ceremony, and that's the bit on the left anyway. So because I was so ill and I was, streaming from my nose, and I was very upset and emotional over my poor father and all the rest of it, so I was crying non-stop. It was really bad. And I had to stop. I had to cut myself on. And I remembered that once you start drawing, you kind of stop thinking about all the things that are upsetting you. So I drew the violinists, and the music was beautiful. So really, I was a blubbering mess before I started sketching. But I got there in the end. And then on the right, you've got one of the pretty little jugs of the beautiful traditional Polish pottery that I bought when I was there. I just did it as a little still life because it was so pleasant to do. On my last day, the Sunday at the end of the symposium, it finished on a Saturday evening, I had a free day, and of course I was very ill. But anyway, I went down to the old square and met one of my colleagues, a lovely Spanish woman, and we sat side by side and drew. Now, it isn't the view that I would have chosen to do, it's just that she was there when I got there, and she did move pretty quickly, so that kind of didn't work, but still, it was lovely to do. That is the central something or other in the square. I don't know what it is because, see above comment re busy, but there's a kind of a trapdoor at the top, and at midday and maybe 3 o'clock on Sundays, I'm not sure. But at midday every day, these two goats they come out, they're sort of let out, mechanical goats, and they butt heads. And there's a kind of a bugle in the background. And of course, it made me cry more again. So as you can imagine, I was a bit of a blubbering wreck from start to finish, more or less. This is a cute little one. I really like this sketch because this is a statue in one of the squares near the old square, and it's called Pan Periscope. And it's this periscope statue with arms and legs. It's very cool. And it's got this mirror thing at the front that you can kind of look distorted in. And those are the goats at the top. And before I leave this sketch, I have to tell you, that blue colour, that is the colour of the Poznan Symposium this year. And the great Roman Schmal, who makes all the watercolours that I use in my videos, in all my sketches, I should say, not my videos, he made a colour especially for the symposium, and he made a little tin of paints to match. And it's that beautiful pale bluey lilac, sort of a periwinkle blue, very unusual colour, absolutely gorgeous. Fair play to you, Roman. This is a typical sort of, everybody does this view, the row of coloured houses in the old square. Now, I like the treatment I did of the roof and maybe the sky to some extent, but I really dislike the treatment I did of the colourful buildings at the bottom. I think I messed it up big time, and I don't know, I just have to go back to Poznan someday and do it again. And last sketch, this one is done from my bed. I used one of the goodies from the goodie bag. It was a set of paints by Derwent, and it's called Graphitint, I think, and they're kind of muted and dull, and they're gorgeous. And the blue on the right hand side, I'll tell you what that's about. On the last few hours of the symposium before the closing ceremony, the instructors were made to sit at rows and rows of tables, and then people came up and asked us for critique of their sketchbooks. Now, I'm not really into
critiquing someone right in their face. It doesn't suit me, because I don't really know what to say. But I think I was the only one who didn't enjoy it much, apart from maybe one or two others. But I was certainly very vocal about it. Anyway, the reason it's blue is because I was showing a really nice technique for doing a flat blue sky, which is really easy. You just wet the surface of wherever you want it to be blue, and then nice and evenly, and then you mix up a wash of blue and you put it on top and you don't touch it, and you overlap slightly the stroke you just did before. That's how you do it. Very easy. So there you go. That's the end of my little July-August book. I hope you've enjoyed it. Oh, more little shots of Reuben running away. Let's see if I can get him to come back.
Reuben, don't go away. Come back. Reuben, come. Come. Come on. Come here. Reuben. Good boy. Good boy. Look at you, good boy. Lovely, lovely, lovely boy. So many lovelies. Come on. Come on to Mum. Good boy. Because I'm going to be gone for a few days and you're going to be so sad. Come on. Come closer. Come closer. A bit closer. A bit closer. No. Is that as far as you can come? Okay. Okay.